Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adanna Combie, and we're just about 7:49 a.m. So if you're getting to work for 8 a.m., if you haven't dropped the children off yet, you might be a little bit late for work. But remember to be safe on our nation's roads. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we continue conversations this morning in studio as we speak with Gillian Stanisclaus, Assistant Manager of the EMA Tobago, as we speak about guidelines for the upcoming October Carnival here on the island of Tobago. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. It's good that you invited me here this morning to give some information. So off the bat, this is related to the noise pollution control rules. Before an event, even though it's Carnival in October, we have some pre-Carnival events. And there are timelines that we want to remind members of the public about that you need to apply. So for example, the 35 days before an event, the Carnival is on October the 25th to the 27th. And 35 days before the event, you need to put your information in the papers. That's 2 consecutive days, and on the 28 days before the event, you submit the application for your event, whatever that may be. For example, you may have an event on the 25th of October. You are supposed to put your ads in the papers on the 20th of September and submit your application to the EMA either online or at our office in Carnival on the 27th of September. Outside of that time, we will not be able to facilitate any events. And I know that some persons are concerned, they call after the period has closed off, that if we could help them because they need to get their bar license, but we cannot facilitate. Because the laws have been out there for a long time. And we have had in the past persons abusing that request. So we have taken the decision at the EMA that we need to enforce the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. And why that is important? Because noise, what is entertainment for you, might be a problem for somebody else. And we want to give members of the public the opportunity to know what is going to be taking place in their community, in their area, and have them either make alternative arrangements or you put things in place to assist the members of your community. And if we keep facilitating persons not applying, at the end of the day, we may have problems going forward.
And a lot of complaints coming in, especially if events have been held in residential areas where people, as you rightfully said, are not able to make alternative arrangements to be away from that space. And I'm happy that you mentioned that it is in the law that they must submit their applications on time. And I too have heard of promoters skating in there on the last minute, trying to get, a bly, as we say locally here. So I wanted to remind our viewers about the dates that they must submit their applications to ensure that they get the level of support from the EMA to proceed with their events.
Okay, so I'm specifying it for the not outside of Carnival. So 35 days before the event. But as I mentioned before, if your event is on the 25th of October, this Carnival season, you need to submit your applications by the 20th of September in the papers. And it's 2 consecutive days. And then on the 27th of September, you need to submit your application. Now, it's not only that you put it in the papers and you're waiting weeks after to submit. No, we still can't accept it because we have processing of the application to conduct and our timelines are affected, and we have promoters sometimes will call us and say, but I sent it in. But no, we have a processing time. We have officers who have other things to do. And, we have to take the time to fully evaluate, because sometimes we have questions. You submit your application, but it's not complete to our satisfaction, and we may have a question. Are there receptors around your area? For example, some events may be taking place close, well, not this time of year, but in the past, you will have an event taking place on a turtle nesting beach. So then we have to go and do a site visit, do additional information. So that is why we ask persons to apply 28 days submit the application to us 28 days before the event.
And you mentioned putting it in the paper and then coming to EMA. Can you send your application to EMA immediately after you post in the paper? There's a time period where you have to wait before you send the application?
No. Actually, we will be very happy if as soon as you get the consecutive days on the papers, you send in your application the very next day, because it gives us more time to process. We've had a number of our communities who the fishermen fed over the years. Sometimes they come and send in the application 2-3 months in advance. Because it's not, the issue is don't wait until it's closer to your events. You can come in way earlier and we facilitate, you get your things in place, and you don't have the issue of having to rush, because then you have to go to the court and get your bar license, and the court now is not going to give you your bar license unless you have your noise pollution control rules certificate.
I know some promoters might be thinking, okay, they're not certain because they're waiting on maybe sponsorship, maybe partnerships. Things might hinder them from getting, from deciding, well, yes, we're actually going to have the event on this day or that day. In the event, a promoter has to push back the dates. Does it affect the application process if they've already sent in the application?
Yes, it does. If you change the date, then you have to go and resubmit in the papers. The reason we ask persons to submit your application into the newspapers is to give members of the public the opportunity to know that an event is coming in my area. And when they see that, they may be able to put things in place. For example, we've had people call in to our office complaining they have exams coming up. And then this major fete is coming, but as they knew about it, they were able to put other things in place so that they're not disturbed during the event, and they're still able to pass their exams. So as I said before, sometimes we think that it's a nuisance, and it's only $250 as compared to what the promoters and they put out there. And it's basically we being our brother's keeper in this community. We understand that some people like to party, they like to go out and do the events, but you also have to consider those around you.
And as we're talking about the noise aspect of the events, I want to veer a little bit off from this topic. Something that happens every day, real life situations we're talking about. People driving motor vehicles with blaringly loud music. Is there any relationship in terms of the EMA regulating that type of behavior as well?
Well, there are two ways to answer that question. First of all, if this moving vehicle is under the purview of licensing, they have the regulation under the maxi taxi and some other legislation that they can implement. The only way, and we have had to treat with this in the past, we have had persons who go and park up at home and leave their music on. Now, the limitation we have is that when we monitor for noise, we spend half an hour monitoring. So you will understand that if somebody sees us come with our meter, they will take off their music.
Right.
And we cannot be able, we will not be able to facilitate and get the reading. In that situation, we try to do conversations and mediate between the complainant and the person's complained against, which is the person playing the music.
You know, this is very, very interesting information that we're having here. And I'm wondering if there's going to be any type of public education rule out so people can really be aware as to what is right and acceptable and the practices that are a little bit irresponsible, so that they can know how to behave in public spaces, and especially also preparing for the events as well. Because I'm telling you, if you live in a residential area, and as you rightfully mentioned, it's my car, and I'm in my home, and I can have my music as loud as I want to. Some people think that way, and rightfully so, it's their stuff. But when you live among people, there are things that you have to be regulated by. So I'm hoping to see some information coming out in terms of informing people what is the right thing to do, the right and responsible thing to do as it relates to that. And of course, promoters there who are getting ready for the October Carnival, remember to get your applications in. Remember, of course, to contact the EMA. Is there a number they can reach you at?
So 238-6717. They can call if they have any questions or queries. And remember, the 20th of September is right around the corner, and the carnival is on the 25th and the 27th. So the latest you can submit your application is the 20th of September. And we are aware that there are at least 19 events that are pre-Carnival 25th to 27. And we have not received all the applications as yet. So we have been paying attention. because we want to minimize the impact on persons who may not be participating in your specific event.
That's right. That's right. So please, viewers out there, those promoters who are getting ready for your pre-carnival events, remember the deadline to submit your application is the 20th of September. That's sometime next week.
Yes.
You know, so you have a little bit of time. So use the rest of this week into next week to ensure you get your applications in there so that the things can run smoothly with the EMA and you won't have to be rushing and begging for a bly in this season. You want to ensure that your event is well promoted and well supported the legal way. You don't want a shutdown, right? You don't want that happening at your event at all. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers?
Yes, we have been working with the Tobago House of Assembly. We have been part of the coordinating committee, and we are really happy to be so much involved in the process that we can provide information and guidance. Because at the end of the day, it's about promoting Tobago and seeing it be taken to the next level. But we just want it done in a way that minimizes the impact on persons who may not be participating in your specific event.
That's right. Yeah? Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. We've been speaking with Gillian Stanisclaus, Assistant Manager at the EMA, Emergency Management Agency here in Tobago, as we talk about preparing for October Carnival here in Tobago. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we end the morning show on Tobago Updates Television, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, and as we head on over, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live.